Our quaint port town of Roma is off to a fantastic start, and I am so very happy that these guides have been helping you guys out. We also just went through a mountain. Disregard that. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Anno 1800 Beginner's Guide series. Thank you all for being here, for commenting on how the guides have been helping you, and there will be more to come. So today, what we are going to be talking about is how to gain some additional funds. The main thing here is, let's say for all intents and purposes, you do not want to make schnapps for your people. You don't want to go ahead and produce beer at the moment. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do that. That's fine. Okay. That's really going to affect your island happiness primarily and your balance. Okay. So right now we've been holding steady at 489 plus. But here's the thing. Soap is one of the most commonly used early game tactics of overproducing to sell for a lot of money. A lot of search terms, or at least the most common search terms for Anno 1800, are how the heck do you make money early game? I was one of those people, okay? I had no idea how to do it. So I'm going to show you how. And it's in fact very simple. So over here at Eli's prison, now his location on the map might be different to where you are and which map C that you're currently using. He's probably going to talk. No, he's not. Perfect. But as you notice, he will purchase 1 ton of soap for 384 coins. Okay, that is really strong. He'll also purchase potatoes from you for 32 coins, but not as strong. He'll also purchase like practically everything that you give him. But at the moment, soap is something that we can work on very effectively. So let's get to work on that. The very first thing that you will notice is that we have 64 steel beams in here. But wait a second. I haven't been producing any steel beams. Where the heck are they coming from? If you notice in the previous guide, or if you haven't watched the previous guide, I explained this a little bit. I'll just do a quick recap. If you go over here to High Clarence Hall, again, his position on the map might be different in your game. If you talk to Archie, he is going to passively gain some steel beams that you can purchase. If you're doing everything correctly and you have enough funds in the bank, you can bring your flagship over here and you can purchase some steel beams from him. Easy peasy. That way you can cut out this production chain early on if you so choose. Because one thing that this does early game for you is you're using workers for an iron mine. You're using workers for a charcoal kiln. You're going to have to use workers for a furnace, and then from the furnace, then you're going to need a steelworks. And look how many workers you're going to need for that, okay? So that's 200 plus 100, 300, 350, 360 workers just to make some steel beams. And as you notice, all the timers are a little wonky. So we don't really want to deal with this right now. If it's an easier way of getting the item, just do it. And that is indeed very simple, because on the conditions that we preset for this whole scenario, he does restock relatively fast. So before, when we were there, he was at 8. Now he's at 9. It does restock relatively quickly on this particular mode. If you also don't want to produce timber or steel or bricks, sewing machines we'll discuss later because that's more for artisan tier. You can also get some of this from him, but both of these are relatively simple, as we found out in the previous episode. So what we're going to be talking about now is a very lucrative soap production chain. We can also discuss some ships, because ships are also not bad to get this going. Let's actually discuss the ships first. So in order to actually have and produce ships, you're going to need a sailing shipyard. The sailing shipyard requires workers to actually be in there, but it's not always going to maintain 100. It's only going to use 100 of your worker workforce when you set a ship to build. So in this particular situation, we do have the funds, we do have the materials, we can go ahead and build a sailing shipyard. So let's go ahead and do that. Put that right over here, and definitely connect it up to your roads. So we'll do something like that. If we were to go in here, you'll notice that we are greeted with 5 ships, but we can't make any of them.
I could simply go to press.
I quite frankly don't care what you do. We have the schooner, we have the gunboat, we have a frigate, clipper, and ship of the line. As you notice, 3 of them are locked behind specific conditions. I'm going to go in depth with all the ships in a subsequent guide because it's important to really discuss this. As an early trade ship, the schooner is probably going to be your best friend, okay? In order to have and build a schooner, first of all, you won't need any influence to build your first one. The second is we need some sails because we already have timber. The way to produce sails is right over here. We are going to need some wool in order to produce the sails from a sailmaker. That's going to cost us 50 of our worker workforce. But here's the problem. We're currently in a one-to-one situation when it comes to our wool and work clothes production. In fact, we're going to have to expand on this because that's not, in fact, pretty good. So what we would want to do in this particular situation is, more than likely, if you do not have the Bright Harvest DLC, and in this particular situation, I'm going to assume that you do not, okay? You just have the regular game. What we're going to do is we're going to build 2 more of the sheep farms without a silo to them. So let's go ahead and build this one. And we're just going to easily copy this and maybe stuff this one over here and build this one up. I know it does kind of look a little bit weird over here. I guess I could have brought this over there. No, that's my...
A dragon among mortals.
In this instance, I'm not going to worry about what she wants.
Aura fades.
So we have 2 more of these. I'm going to also put down 1 more framework knitter because I know we're going to need one. But now we have 1 extra of this building that's going to produce some wool. And that means we can start producing some sails. We can go ahead and put a sailmaker down over here next to this warehouse, or you can pick another spot, like right over here in front of this other warehouse, and plop it down right over here. This is going to start producing some sails for you, okay? And the good thing about this is you don't actually have to mass produce the sails. They'll actually be very, very efficient. It's going to be like... It's going to... My computer just decided they wanted to mess with itself. I don't know why. The sailmakers are going to produce some sails once every 30 seconds. So that's going to pretty much run. What we can do is we can actually go up here and set whichever one we want. So let's go ahead and put sails up here just so I can see. We essentially need 10. But in the meantime, while that's actually working, we are going to start up with this whole soap thing. So, additionally, I'm going to go again saying that you do not have the Bright Harvest DLC for the silos. If you do have the Bright Harvest DLC, what you would want to do is build up one of these grain farms, build up the silos. These things will work doubly fast. So it'll be at 30 seconds for each one of these. And I'll talk about Bright Harvest in a future one of the guides as well. So let's go ahead and start up with this whole thing. So let's discuss it. First of all, we're going to need a pig farm in order to have rendering works, in order to have the soap factory. As you can see here, the timers are so wonky, okay? So we have a minute for the pig farm, we have a minute for the rendering works, and then we have a minute, or no, I'm sorry, 30 seconds for the soap, okay? So that means if we want to have 1 soap factory, we're going to need 2 rendering works and 2 pig farms. This is already getting a little bit complicated, is it not? This is how the game essentially is telling you you are progressing and you need to pay attention, because this is going to hit you like a ton of bricks, no pun intended, in the future if you don't do and play your cards right. So I'm going to go ahead and build a road around here, because this is kind of where I want most of my farm fields to be. We are maxed out on pigs in here already, but again, factor in we're going to have to build another slaughterhouse at another point in the game, so better to keep that pretty much set. So we're going to go over here, and we're going to start building some additional pig farms. And this is going to do a massive number on your island attractiveness, because again, this is adding to vulgarity. Each one of these pig farms is going to need 30 farmers. So as you can see, if we were to build all these up, we won't have enough of a workforce to actually get in there. So that goes back over here to wanting to expand the settlement some more, get some more people in here. So just keep building in the direction that you feel is the nicest. So we're going to fill out this corner over here. Let's do something like this, and then like maybe something like this. We can bring this up like so. This one to here. We could probably have like a couple homes, so maybe 2, I guess, is the maximum we could put over here. Let's go ahead and link it all up with some roads. Oh, well, you can always extend the middle finger to this guy as well, if you really want to. I do all the time. All right, so we built a whole bunch of homes right now. We are low on our timber, but then again, these guys are going to be still working. There is also another thing when it comes to using the paved streets. You can start putting paved streets to all of these, because then they'll start actually transporting the goods faster to your warehouse, and that way you won't actually see that this is going to be low for quite some time. Over back here, I want to imagine that this marketplace isn't going to reach all the way back here, so we're going to have to put another marketplace here. Let's go ahead and do something like that. We can also put another pub, because the pub need is also important. If we want to stick to that, put a road right around it. And we will wait until we have one more timber in there to build that. In this instance, if you have enough money and you just don't want to wait, go over to Archie, get your stuff. Get the stuff you need. I might actually do that. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to take my flagship over here, and we're going to get some more timber. As you can see, we currently have 6 sails, so yeah, this is actually a good idea to do that. And while that's all going, we can also work on where we want all of these soap factories to be. So as we saw before, we have 4 of these, we have 2, we're going to need 4 of these, and then we're going to need 2 of these. That's just how it's going to work. It is unfortunately a dirty job. I say that in air quotes, but they're not like 2 large buildings. So this is what the rendering works looks like. And as you can see, it's actually going to need some steel beams for this. We can go ahead and put down 4 buildings like so. And if you're crazy like me, you can fix it up like that. Even if you want to have like some paved streets around it, you can do something like that as well. And then the actual soap factory, which can be like right over here. Because those things are going to work pretty fast. This is going to do 2 things for you. The first thing is it's going to help you out significantly with increasing your population size, right? Because your workers are going to need soap. And then also you'll be able to sell it. So that's also a very good thing. So now we have 24 timber. We're going to build up the second pub over here. And because you're like kind of far away from another fire station, it wouldn't be a bad idea to build another one. Keep fire coverage everywhere, because if you go and click on one, it'll tell you what the fire chance is. And right now we're kind of at the moderate level. It's not too bad, but it's not horrible. You definitely want to make sure you're safe. This side, on the other hand, it's low. Over here, I would imagine it would be a little bit higher, but I haven't actually built one, so not a big problem. So now we can see our farmer workforce is exploding, and what we can do is we can go ahead and build up all of these pig farms. And our attractiveness is definitely going to take a hit. Because they're kind of far away on this side to a warehouse, it would be a good idea to put another one over here. Or if you've built like your complex a little bit better than I have, you will actually find that you're kind of close to one. In this situation, I want to imagine that this is actually going to be good enough, so we'll keep this going like so. And we're going to wait until my flagship actually reaches Archie. But as you can see, our balance is kind of fluctuating, right? It's mostly because while we are increasing the population, we are also needing to put more buildings down that cost maintenance. So the maintenance need is what's really taken its toll on us over time. So it's going down little by little. But when you get more population in there, so like when we actually get some more workers in here, that's plus 5 extra coins. And then later on with the school, that's an additional couple of coins there. But now Schnapps is actually depleting because we don't have enough coming through. If you want to maintain the chain, you definitely can. So what we would have to do is actually build another farm and another Schnapps distillery to keep up with the demand. Let's go ahead and do that for the sake of the guide. And we're going to put down this potato farm right over here. We're going to go ahead and put down a Schnapps distillery right beside it. And you can definitely do this. There's no problem with that apps whatsoever. You can go ahead and put this over here and then finish it up and go ahead and just build it all up too, along with the Schnapps distillery. So that's also going to work. And if we go back over to the production, we will see that that's actually become even. Same goes with the work clothes, unfortunately. That's also another, situation that kind of gets out of control from time to time. But if you're constantly looking at it, you'll be ahead of the curve. So right now, Archie has like 20 more steel beams. We don't need any more. We more so want timber. So I'm just going to grab 100 timber from him and call it a day. That's going to actually help us out for quite some time, really. But now we actually have 13 sails and we have 26 timber. So we can come over here, and as you can see, we can purchase our first schooner, or we can have it built. So let's go ahead and build it up. So you're just going to press that. As you see, our workforce here is now plus 24 with the workers, and that's because 100 of them are currently being used to build this ship. And you'll be able to tell because it has like the skeleton of a ship being produced, and you'll be able to see all the workers working on it. This is going to take us about 3 minutes to build this schooner, which is fantastic. It's not a lot, but as you can see now, our balance is going into the negatives, and that's because welcome to royal taxes. It is just the worst mechanic in this game, bar none. I am not even going to talk about that now, but this is something that you'll probably get used to, right? Seeing a negative balance. And that's when this whole situation comes into play. So what we're going to do is we're going to start working on these, but before we do that, we're going to have to upgrade a little bit more of our population, because we're going to need some people. We need some timber, so I'm going to fast forward it, let our ship come back in. And once we have more people in here, then we are going to build up that complex, and we are going to start with all the soap production we could ever want. And we're going to start making some decent money. I want to imagine I could probably build all of that now. Yeah, that's pretty good. Anything kind of like in this corner is really good to start off. Anywhere that you start your stuff. Okay, so we got our first schooner.
We assist however we may.
The Star Shadow. That's actually a really nice name. So we'll keep the Star Shadow right over here. We don't need to go any further. Because we do have pirates in these waters, it kind of would be a good idea to keep it close to the harbor area, because you do have one artillery piece over here that's going to deter ships coming in. So just bear that in mind. So we have the workforce, we have all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and begin with the rendering works. And we can also build up one of the soap factories. So now, unfortunately, we become a little bit less attractive. It is what it is. The returns later on, if you choose to make like this island be your creme de la creme in the future, you can always move these things off. And in fact, there is a way to completely get rid of the negative attractiveness with the soap factories and actually replace the input of tallow with wood. It completely gets rid of the negative attractiveness, and you can even continue on with the whole soap trade in your main city if you so choose. So right now, we have the red indicator right over here with the soap, and that's because these guys are still producing the tallow that's necessary from the piggies. We can still consider upgrading a little bit more, but as you can see, we need 80 just for these two, and then we need 50 for this soap factory. But if we go over here, right, we'll notice that we're already overproducing a decent amount when it comes to the soap. That's fine, okay? I want it known. This is fine to overproduce. Not to a crazy level, but to a good level so you can constantly sell it.
New orders?
So let's go ahead and put as many of our timber in there as possible. We're going to have to upgrade a little bit more. New buildings have been unlocked. And now the final thing that the workers would need is a school. You can easily go ahead and build this because it's just literally a single building right over here. And let's put it right next to the church, because then we're actually going to get a decent coverage. But as you can see, this area over here is a little bit light blue. So not all of our workers are going to be getting the school. But I'm going to show you something that's going to fix that really quick. Let's go ahead and build this. And now,
Hard work's paying.
all of the needs for your workers are going to be fulfilled. The school is instant, but as you can see here, it's only normal because it's too far away. When you actually put paved roads into your cities, it increases the radius of your services. So, if we were to take this section and upgrade it, this has actually expanded the radius of where this thing can go. So like before this was normal, now it's good. If you continue doing it, let's do this section next. Now you'll see it's getting a little bit closer to maximum, and it's actually going to hit perfect. This guy, on the other hand, it's still good, so we can upgrade just a little bit more. Let's get this section. And now if we were to go here, it's going, it's going, it's going, it's going, it's going. It's still almost there, but if you get the road connection to here, more than likely he'll be good. Perfect. So we have a perfect need for every single one of these guys, except for the one in the middle, I think. Oh, that was updating. So that's what paved streets do for you. And they obviously consume bricks. So now your brick factories are going to be working again. We have a little indicator over there, so we should probably consider building the second warehouse. And now we should see the first soap come in, which is fantastic. The soap is going to increase the population size over to get these guys to 20 because we're giving them the base needs, and that is what we want to see. But now comes the whole overproducing aspect of this. We don't need the sails up here anymore. I would replace that with the soap itself. So let's go ahead and upgrade these two and build this, so we can actually see more soap come in here. And right now, all that's really left to do is to just give it time. Sit here. If you choose to want to upgrade your population, expand the lengths of your city, definitely go ahead and consider doing so. You already have the building blocks over in here to continue on. You definitely need to constantly check over here, though, to make sure that you're producing enough. So like right now, the sausages are becoming a bit of a problem. So you want to go ahead and consider upgrading another slaughterhouse, and you'll have enough going forward. Because now you have more workers, and more workers means they want to consume more sausages, they want more bread, they want more soap, they want everything, okay? That's just literally how the game is. The larger your population, the more you have to produce. There are ways of getting around it, of course, but for the time being, because we're just focusing on the one island over here and the one island strategy to get all the basics underway, this is what you're going to have to face. So we're going to let the game play out, and then I will join you guys back here in a second when we have enough soap to sell. Okay, so I let the game run pretty much as is. Well, I did a couple things over here. And as you can clearly see, we now have 54 soap. Okay, that's a lot. And if you go over to production, you'll be able to see that they're not actually using a lot of soap. The demand is actually still at 0. That based off of your population. But we're producing 4 every minute pretty much. That's really good. So you will always see a massive increase of this. Later on, what you can do is you can even consider doubling the size of this complex. So like you can, for example, go ahead here, copy this, put it down here, get it ready, get 2 more of these guys, and then plop them down over here. And you'll have the next step to continue on with your soap trade business. But now, you actually want to trade this. There are 2 strats that go about this. One is you physically do it yourself. You micro it based off of your actual need. If you're lazy, sometimes like me, you can create a trade route. A trade route is very simple to create, but has a tendency of getting kinda like, you get lost in the sauce pretty much, because they're eventually in Anno 1800, you're gonna have a lot of trade routes, okay? Early game, though, very easy, because essentially the trade route and charter system is actually empty. So in order to do that, it's at the bottom left over here. It's got a little ship icon, and it's got 2 arrows. It says routes. So over here, you're going to create a route, okay? You have 2 routes here. Charter, ship to move goods in between your islands, or just a trade route, okay? In this particular situation, we are just going to want the trade route. So let's go ahead with this one. You can choose to name your trade route. So in this particular situation, I'm going to type as soap trade, right? And you can also assign it to a group. You can create a new group and leave it at that. And we'll discuss the groups here in a second. What you're going to do is you're going to press this plus sign, and you're going to see your available ships. So we don't want to use the Endeavor, because the Endeavor is our flagship. We want to use the Star Shadow. So let's go ahead and click the Star Shadow, shall we? And then in order to get the goods and essentially see what you have, you can click on your island. So we're going to click here on Roma, right? And then this icon pops up. From left to right, we have the move up, move down. And that essentially means, like, if we want to click on this island, we can move this one in order and see like which island the ship should go to first. But we don't want to deal with our second island right now. We just want Roma. The next one is wait for goods. Essentially what this means is your ship is going to stay docked in the harbor until the entire shipment that you set is actually in its hull, and it's going to leave the second it's full. So it's essentially going to lock a port spot until it's done, right? Discarding the cargo means essentially throwing the excess overboard. You will have to physically pick that up later, or later on you can like use one of the fantastic keybinds to go and pick it up. That's up to you. I really don't use this one. Wait to unload. If activated, the ship will wait until it has completed all unload orders from this harbor. This means that if your actual harbor is full up of that particular good, let's say it's bread, and the Star Shadow is bringing 50 bread over from our second island, it's going to wait for all of its load to be completely unloaded before it leaves. So it's not going to go back to our previous island with like 20 some odd bread in its hull, right? Over here, it says loading goods. So then it's going to pop up with all the goods on your island and additional ones you haven't made. Pretty much all the stuff that you can make. Really depends on like your raw resources, your construction materials, your food stuffs. In this instance, we're going to want soap, okay? So let's go ahead and click that once. You'll notice that says 50 soap. You can choose to determine how much soap you want to put in here. I recommend just having 50, but leave it at that. I'm going to tell you something very important to do after we get this going though. Now we see Eli over here. His request right there immediately says soap, potatoes, and offers iron and coal. So we're going to click on him. And as you can see here, the route starts to create this chain. If you highlight over these circles, right, you can actually change the position of where you want your ship to travel, right? So now it's going to take this funky route in order to get to the prison, instead of like, for example, if we don't want it to go in this direction, we can have it go over here. Normally the AI is going to take the fastest route, so you can kind of trust it, but like, for example, we have islands over here, we need to make sure we don't get in the way of the pirate. You can have it go from like around the islands and then straight up over here, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to click on this and it says unload the good. And this essentially means that you are set. It is going to take 50 soap at maximum over to the prison, and it's going to unload the soap there and not pick anything else up. Alternatively, if you want to get a little bit more, in depth with this, you could also load a particular good. Like, let's say you need some additional iron or need some coal. You can put coal in here, same general principle, and we could have it unload in Roma. So this is a good trade route. But for this particular situation, we're not going to worry about that. All we're focused on is soap trade. So we're going to accept this, okay? And right now it's set into this new group. We can go here and rename this group. We can just say Roma to Eli. And then we're going to know that this is going to be our trade route group with Eli. If you choose to make another route, let's say we actually do one with the Endeavor, and we take it from this to this, right? If we chose to do something like this, then we can put this one into the Roma to Eli group if it corresponds with that. That's just one way of sorting what you're doing, okay? So we're going to discard all these changes. And before all of this, you see that now the Star Shadow is loaded up with 50 soap in order to go over there. After this is done, and that's why you want to have an excess, go over to your main harbor area and go down to the soap, okay? Over here, you have a couple options. No trade, buy and sell only, or buy only. Don't worry about any of that, because you are essentially trading this now. You're going to make money off of this, so don't worry. But always set a minimum stock. So the ship is going to want to take 50 maximum, but if you don't have 50 total in there, it's only going to take everything above 10. So let's do a minimum of 10 stock. If that ship were to come back now and take more soap, it's only going to take 20, not 30. And the reason why we're doing this is that we always have some soap ready for these guys. So they're not going to lower their need. They're not going to lose out on the soap. They're still going to be happy, and you're still going to be doing the trade. So the Star Shadow now is on its way over to Eli's prison, and you can always just sit back here. If you're interested in this mode, if all you have to do is just click on your ship and press F1, and it'll go to it, and you have this like beautiful cinematic camera just watching your ship as it progresses from your main island over to trade. I mean, you can do it with practically any ship. You can do it with your flagship. You can do it with your ships of the line. You can watch your war fleet go in there and absolutely decimate somebody. You can see the dolphins over there just jumping. Are those dolphins or swordfish? I can't tell. Oh, it's swordfish. Cool. You guys ever had swordfish? I know it's kind of off topic. I tried it recently. I think, yeah, I'm kind of like happy medium. I would go with tuna instead. It's actually not bad. But granted, I did actually buy it frozen from Trader Joe's. So, yeah, you get a little bit of a hint as to how I am. Insert hair flip here. So, we're going to see this. You also, if you click on your ship, you will see the track that it's taking, so you'll be able to see if are you in fact in any danger or not. And in this particular instance right now, the pirate is kind of just hanging around these particular islands, so this is the real danger zone. She hasn't gotten to the part of like mass producing ships, and these ships can pack a punch right now early game. They are pirate gunboats, so they can actually destroy your little schooners, and it's a good thing that she's kind of just like big chilling around here. So when we get over here, we're going to fast forward it so we can see when the Star Shadow arrives at Eli's port. And we're going to see this very lucrative trade happen in real time. So you can go ahead here and just wait. I don't know why it's doing a complete turn. Okay, so now it's trading. When you have this little hourglass above it, it means the ship is going to be docked here.
Not enough to call it extortion.
And you just got an easy 19.2k by selling 50 tons of soap. Keep this thing going. Like, you do not need to worry about it. If this starts to like go a little bit further down into the red, know that you have this very lucrative trade that can continue on. And even if you were to expand upon your chain, you can even set 2 to it. And if you want to get back, you can just like pre-plan this as well. You can get 2 sets of 50, because this ship can essentially take 2 loads at any given time. It has 2 item slots in here, so you'll be able to sell about 100, and that's what, 38? How much would it be?
I'm watching your
38k. So an easy 38k just by selling soap. It's very good to start off like this early game. It grants you a little bit of breathing room, because again, the game is going to do whatever it can to really hammer home that you have maintenance costs and you have a lot of other things. So a very lucrative soap trade is going to be in your best benefit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It was definitely on the shorter end, and that's fine. Some of the episodes are going to be shorter, some of them are going to be longer. It really depends on what we're discussing. Definitely employ the soap trade. It's really a good option. Later on in the next episode, I can show you with that one actually fully built how fast this can be. You can even get more ships onto this if you're overproducing so much on soap that just one little schooner is not capable of doing this. You can get this thing going and make so much money from this, man. Very easy. Big thumbs up. In the next episode, we're going to be discussing the whole furnace chain over here, so we will actually work to make some steel beams, some guns, and then probably work in towards getting to the artisan tier. So until next time, please consider like, commenting, subscribing, hitting that bell button, sharing it with your friends. Tell me if you employed the soap trade and how much you've made early game and how much it's helped you. Thank you so much for being here, and I will catch you on the next episode, my Rantians.